Hello students, today I will analyze chapter 7, that is finite and non-finite verbs from ACE English Grammar and Composition of class 8. So at first you have to know what is finite verbs and non-finite verbs. I am analyzing that highlighted box only, and all exercise I will solve at first and then I will post in Versum the answers. The words in bold are finite verbs and the underlined words are non-finite verbs. Which bold words and which underlined words? Just see the examples. Rajat likes ice cream. Likes, this is bold words. He loves to read books. Here bold word is loves and underlined word is to read. The room is painted white. Is painted bold in black color and underlined word. He goes swimming, bold word, and swimming, that is underlined words. So here the words in bold, that bold words likes, loves, goes, these are called finite verbs. Why? I will explain after telling that word then. And the underlined words are called non-finite. These are underlined words. To read, painted, swimming, these are called non-finite verbs. Why these are called finite and non-finite? Why they are differentiated between them? Just see. We know that a finite verb is the main verb in a sentence. So these are the finite verbs likes, loves, goes. These are called main verbs also in a sentence. Or an independent clause, it has a subject. So likes, it has a subject. Subject is Rajat. Loves, that word subject is he. It changes form depending on the tense and number. These verbs will be changed according to the tense or number of subject. Suppose he goes. You will write instead of he, they. Then which verb you will write? They go, not goes. But here this is third person singular number. That's why here it is written goes. So according to number and tense of subject, according to gender, according to number of a subject, verb will be changed and tense also. So those verbs that will be changed according to tense or number, these verbs are called finite verbs. These are changed. Suppose Rajat likes ice cream. Likes, I have said, this is called finite verb. Rajat and Shima. Here in first sentence you have seen Rajat, that is third person singular number. But in the second sentence you just see here Rajat and Shima. How many number? 2. Because that's why more than one, so it is plural, third person plural number. That's why here like is written, not likes. So according to the number of subject, verb will be changed. So these are called main verbs also in a sentence. So these verbs are called finite verbs. And non-finite, the definition is, we know that a non-finite verb is a form of a verb that does not have a subject and does not change with either tense or number. Those verbs that will not be changed according to the changing of number of a subject or tense. Suppose he likes to read books. These are underlined verb. To read, painted, swimming. These verbs will not be changed. He likes to read, but they like to read books. So here in first sentence he is written and in second sentence they is written. In first sentence he, third person singular number, and here they, third person plural number. So number is changed, but these underlined verbs to read is not changed according to the changing of number of subject. So these verbs are called non-finite verb. And similarly, painted, swimming, these are also called non-finite verbs. Why? I will explain. There are three kinds of non-finite verbs. One is infinitive, second one is participles and gerunds. So what do you mean participles and gerund? You will know, I think. But infinitive, you have to know. Infinitive, just before main verb, you can place to. To go, to eat, to eat. These are called infinitives. So next box, here the descriptions of infinitive verbs. Infinitive, I think you know. They could solve it easily. Solve. We tried to solve the crossword. So here solve and to solve, these are bold words. The words in bold are infinitives. These are called infinitives. The infinitive is a simple form of the verb with or without the word to. Sometimes it is with to and sometimes without to. This verb is placed in a sentence. The infinitive is a simple form of the verb. I have said just now. The infinitive without to is called the bare infinitives, which is the same as the base form of the verb. And the infinitive with to is called the to infinitive. So in first sentence you see here without to it is placed, so this verb is called bare infinitive. It acts as the main verb. And here to is placed, to plus main verb. So this is called to infinitive. Understand? Next, we can call them. Here call bare infinitives. I will try to come to your house. Main verb is try, and to come it is placed as a infinitive, to infinitive. So to be verb, it is also called to be verb. We use the infinitive to show purpose, a result, or to express a comment. Why it is placed in a sentence? For purpose, for showing purpose, a result, or to express a comment. To complete this race, you must cross all the hurdles. To complete, it is to infinitive verb, and cross bare infinitive. It acts as a main verb. We use the bare infinitive after modal auxiliaries, but slight difference between bare infinitive and main verb. Main verb is always placed after auxiliaries verbs. Suppose be verb, have verb, but and it independently placed also. Suppose he goes main verb, independently it is placed, but bare infinitive always placed after modal auxiliaries. Modal, can, could, shall, will, may, must, and so on. After modal it is placed. And verb such as see, watch, hear, feel, sense, let, these verbs are placed. So always remember bare infinitives it is placed after modal auxiliaries, but main verb always placed after be verb or have verb, and it is independently placed also. We shall overcome all the obstacles. Shall overcome. Overcome bare infinitive, it is placed after modal, shall. We usually use the to infinitive after the main verb in a sentence. You know that after main verb it is placed to infinitive. Suppose I like to eat. I like here acts as a main verb, and to eat after main verb it is placed. To eat, it acts as a to infinitive. We use it after adjectives and verbs, and after adjectives and verbs it is also placed, such as afford, expect, offer, refuse, agree, hope, plan, seem, arrange, love, learn, pretend, threaten, decide, manage, promise, want, and so on. Suppose, for example, Munira loves to visit new cities. So, love cities main verb, and to visit it is what is called? It is infinitive, to infinitive. So, to infinitive it is placed after main verb. We often use to infinitive after the object of the verb. So, after the object of a verb it is also placed. Suppose advise, hail, tell, allow, invite, etc. For example, the doctor advised him object, after the object of a verb here, main verb advise. So him is object of a verb advice. So after this object, you can use to infinitive verb, to eat. It is placed. To eat healthy food. Okay, I think it is clear. There is another function of using to infinitive verbs. So what is it? After WH word, you can use to infinitive verbs except why. After why, you cannot use to infinitive verbs, but after this WH word, you can use to infinitive verbs, and very frequently you can use, I think, what to do, what to know, and how to do, how to open, how to close. So this is frequently used several times. So for example, he does not know how to send an email. So it is in the middle of a sentence, it is placed how, this WH word, and to send, it is used as an infinitive, to infinitive. So come to the next box, that is participle. So what is participle? Generally participle, it is the verb, but used as an adjective by adding t, ed or ing, and there are two types of participles, that is present participle and past participle. So I am explaining one by one. At first, read these two sentences. The team is celebrating its victory. They have fried some samosas. So celebrating, ing is used to be the just added to the main verb celebrate and plus ing, celebrating. So you can tell it is present participle. How will you identify it is present participle? Because at the end of this word, t or ed is not used, is not added. So it is you may call it is present participle. But fried, have fried, it is present or past participle. Why? Because fry, that is the main verb, ed is added to the main verb fry, and it is fried. So you may tell it is past participle. The words in bold are participles. These bold letters, these bold words are called participles. A participle is a form of a verb that is used to indicate present or past action. So what is it? A participle is a form of a verb that is used to indicate present or past action. So by these words you can understand it is this action is happened now or was happened in the past. Like other non-finite verbs, it cannot stand alone and does not change its form. So you know, finite verbs, those finite verbs are those which change their forms, and those verbs are independent. But participles are non-finite verbs. These are dependent verbs, but and they change their forms. Participles are of two kinds, the present participle and the past participle. So a present participle is a form of the verb ending in ing. It may be used both to form the verb tense and as an adjective. This type of participle is placed before noun sometimes, or acts as a verb. But when it is placed before noun, this verb acts as an adjective, because this verb at that time modifies that noun. And when they function as an adjective, participles modify nouns or pronouns. Suppose grandfather is walking with a stick. Walking, it acts as a verb, I have said. But when this word is placed before noun, grandfather has a walking stick. So walking is placed before noun and it modifies that noun. Just it acts as the function of adjective. So this is called present participle, and present participle acts as an verb is placed in the middle of a sentence, and or acts as an adjective when it is placed before a noun and modifies noun. Understand, I think. Next, the present participle may combine with the auxiliary verbs be and have to form continuous and perfect continuous verb forms. What is it? They are preparing for their exams. Sometimes it is placed with the be verb and just acts as a present continuous tense. They are preparing, are be verb and preparing, it is placed here. Or sometimes it is placed have verb, have been preparing, present perfect continuous tense. So in that time you can tell it is used as a present participles. A past participle is used to form the perfect tense. Like the present participle, it may also be used as a verb and as an adjective. The past participle of regular verbs is made by adding d or ed. Ing is not added. When ing, you can see it is you tell it is present participle, not past. But past participle always d or ed are added to the main verb, to the base form of the verb. Base means main verb. The past participles of irregular verbs must be learned. Irregular and regular verbs, you know, I think, when you read the conjugation of verbs at that time. And sometimes past participle you can see are irregular verbs. Suppose irregular verbs are those first forms, suppose leave. Here left is there, leave, left, left. Second form and third form are same. Then you can tell dream, dream, dreamt, dreamt. So second and third form same. Expose, exposed, exposed. Second and third form are same. So these verbs are called irregular verbs, and those verbs are changed in second and third form. Suppose fly, flew, flown. Three forms are changed. So these verbs are called regular forms, regular verbs. So the wound is exposed, so you must clean it. Exposed, ed is added, d is added. Left, Jasmeet did not arrive until after I left. Left. So these are called past participles. Always remember, past or present participle, these are one form of a verb, and those verbs sometimes acts as a verb and sometimes acts as an adjective. Always remember, adjective, when these verbs are placed before noun and modifies those noun. Suppose walking stick, walking, walking stick. Walking qualifies this noun or pronoun. So at that time you can tell those verbs are participles, acts as a participle. Next, I am analyzing about gerund. What are gerunds? So you have known about participles when d, ed, t and ing are added to the main verb, and those verbs act as an adjective and verb also. So these form of verbs are called participles. Participles are two types, present participles and past participles. But gerund, a slight difference between participles and gerund. What is it? Gerunds are those form of verbs, always ing is added to the main verb, and those verbs act as a noun, not adjective, and it is placed after the main verb. So here the management will consider granting your application. They prefer reading the daily news on the internet. See the highlighted words, granting, reading. These are called gerund. And granting is placed after the main verb, consider, and reading also is placed after the main verb, prefer. So these gerund always are placed after the main verb. But participles are placed after auxiliary verbs, or those are placed before noun. because for highlighting, modifying the nouns or pronouns, because those participles sometimes act as an adjective, but gerund act as a noun. So these are placed after the main verb. A gerund is the ing form of a verb. Always ing is added to the main verb, and that functions like a noun. They act as a noun, not adjective. The gerund is often used after verbs. These main verbs, and after these main verbs, gerund always placed. For example, I enjoy cooking. I enjoy cooking for my family. So enjoy is the main verb, and cooking gerund acts as a gerund. Why it is gerund? Because ing is added to the main verb cook, and it acts as a noun. Suppose you will ask, what do I enjoy? Answer will become cooking. Cooking acts as a noun. So cooking, I enjoy cooking for my family. Cooking acts as a noun, so it is called gerund. Some verbs such as begin, continue, start, like, love, need, hate, intent, and so on can be followed by either a gerund or an infinitive without changing the meaning of the sentence. Meaning will be the same. These the particular main verbs. After these main verbs, sometimes either gerund will be placed or infinitive, but meaning will be the same. What is it? I love watching films. I love watching films. So watching acts as a gerund. Ing is here, and it acts as a noun, and main verb love, after love it is placed. And sometimes the same gerund will be placed as an infinitive, but meaning will be the same. What is it? I like to watch film. Meaning will be the same. No change is occurred here. I like to watch film. After like, to watch, the form of infinitive is placed. Meaning is same. Okay, clear? Then we use gerunds after prepositions. Sometimes you will see in a sentence gerund is placed after prepositions. We use gerunds after verbs, adjectives, and nouns. They are followed by prepositions. So gerund we may use as a after verb, adjective, and noun. They are followed by preposition. Suppose apologize for. These are called appropriate preposition. Approve of, believe in, bored with, keen on, and several, so on. Suppose, for example, do you have a reason for behaving this way? Reason for. Here is no main verb. Do you have here acts as a main verb. Do you have a reason for behaving this way? Reason for, this is preposition, appropriate preposition. So here for acts as a preposition, and behaving gerund is placed after these appropriate prepositions. So this rule, just read, and example is here. The gerund, and this is very highlighting point, you will mark this point. The gerund and the present participle have the same ing form. You know, present participle, suppose you have here seen in participle box, this is present participle. The team is celebrating its victory. Celebrating, ing is here. Suppose here grandfather is walking with a stick. Grandfather has a walking stick. Ing is placed the same form, gerund form, and this present participle form are the same. So how will you can you identify between present participle and gerund? Here the explanation is given here. The gerund and the present participle have the same ing form. This sometimes makes it difficult to identify the two. At such times, we must remember that a gerund performs the function of a noun. You know that gerund always acts as a noun, and participle always acts as an adjective. The present participle, on the other hand, helps form the continuous tense and acts like an adjective by modifying the noun. Understood? So that is the basic difference. The form are the same. Form of verbs are the same. Gerund and present participle form are same. So how can you identify? Gerund always acts as a noun. When you read a sentence, you think, is it act as a noun or adjective? When you see it acts as a noun, then you just write, you definitely will write it is gerund. And when you will see it acts as an adjective, you will write it is present participle. Suppose swimming is good exercise. What is good exercise? Swimming. So swimming acts as a noun, not adjective. So it is gerund. Mayur went to buy swimming trunks. Swimming trunks. Swimming trunks. Trunks here noun and swimming modifies these trunks. Swimming here acts as an adjective. Swimming, what type of trunks, not trucks. I pronounce trucks. Trunks. It will be trunks. What type of trunks? Swimming trunks. So, swimming acts as an adjective. It modifies the noun trunks. So, you may tell it is participle, present participle, because it acts as an adjective. Next, Manish is swimming in the pool. Here, swimming acts as a verb because the form is the present continuous tense. Here the in that rule it is also told it helps form the continuous tense. So here it is present continuous tense and swimming acts as a verb. So continuous tense. It is present participle continuous tense. So understood? I think this is clear for you what is participle and gerund, and all the exercises I will provide the answers and home tasks I will give. You will practice at home several times. Okay? Thank you.